I'm here today with Matt, and Matt works for Focal Point, and I'm going to let Matt tell us about him a little bit more. But he's a consultant, and we met at a networking event, and he's already consulted with one of my potential customers. So I have a pretty good idea what kind of guy he is, and that he's reliable and hardworking. So I asked him to come and meet with me and tell me more about what he does and what he likes to do. So Matt, I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, thanks, Drew. Appreciate you inviting me to do this. So I'm an exit planning advisor and business leadership coach. I primarily focus on helping business owners prepare for that transition in their life from owning the business to whatever it is they want to do next, be it retirement or acquiring another business, starting another business. I help them prepare the business they have today for that event, but also help them prepare personally for that event through figuring out, what it is in detail, as well as making sure that, with the help of a financial planner, making sure that they are financially ready for whatever that event is. So, if they've got certain ideas about what they want to do in retirement, are they going to have the funds needed to do that, to do those things? And so, I combine that with my coaching practice. A lot of the tools I use when it comes to just, coaching business owners through specific challenges in their business or specific objectives they're trying to achieve, generally leveraging the same tools. But the primary focus is on helping business owners prepare for, again, that transition in their life.
That's great. And, and that's exactly the reason why I worked with him the first time. Was I had a business owner who was trying to figure out what his next step was going to be. He's been in the business for a while, kind of getting tired, has other money, other revenue, but had an idea in his head how much money he needed to get for his existing business and wasn't sure whether or not he could, transition into the next phase of his life. So, hey, you never know. Maybe we'll be able to still move forward with that deal. We're kind of in the works on that. So, but it's been a pleasure working with you, Matt. So how'd you get into this business? What made you decide to go this direction?
So, in my past career, I've always really enjoyed working on very strategically focused projects and programs. So, when I say strategic, it was thinking about, okay, what does this department want to be in 3 to 5 years? What do we envision that looking like, and then laying out a plan to get there, and then executing that plan. And so, when I started looking for a career change, I came across, business leadership coaching and exit planning advising. And I said, well, gee, here's a skill I have to, help a group of people, business department, what have you, come up with their vision of the future, and then helping them get there. And this is an opportunity for me to do that for a lot more businesses than just the one I'm working for. So now I bring that skill set to small business owners and help them create better businesses, bigger businesses, whatever their goals are they're trying to achieve with their business, whatever challenges they are having. Ultimately, I really enjoy sitting down with someone and having them tell me how much they love working for the business they work for, and how much their customers love their business. And I thought to myself, well, geez, if I can help create more businesses like that, where employees, can't say enough good things about their employer, that seems like a great thing to do. So that's what attracted me to moving into this practice.
That's great. So a little bit of a divergence here. You can't tell from the video, but Matt's a pretty tall guy. I have to imagine you're about 6'3", something like that, if I had to
Six
guess.
five.
6'5". All right. So,
Yeah.
and so, I imagine at some point maybe you played some sports that took advantage of your height, or
I did. I ran hurdles in high school. Was not very good. And then played volleyball at when I was at Northeastern for the men's club team for a couple of years, and then had to choose between playing volleyball on the men's team and or putting a little more focus into my academics. So I think I made the right choice and decided to just kind of shift towards playing intramurals. But yeah, so those definitely put my height to use for sure.
that's cool. Yeah, it's hard to tell when you're 5'10" how tall somebody is, but
Yeah. Especially over
um,
Zoom.
yeah, right. That's cool. And what else do you like to do?
Yeah, so I keep busy with my three teenage sons and their activities. I'm the scoutmaster for their scout troop. We're actually headed out this weekend to go skiing. And so that keeps me busy with the weekly meetings and the camp outs. I like to go mountain biking when the weather's nice. Yeah, going to be taking on a project with my oldest son. Just got him a car to try to restore, if you will, and improve on its running conditions. So going to be doing that for the foreseeable future. So yeah, I got a few hobbies here and there.
That's cool. Did he just get his license recently, or
He's actually still in the permit process, so
okay.
he's going through his driver's ed, classes, if you will, and then he'll be able to drive with mom and dad for a few months to get his hours in, and then go for his license in about 6 months.
That's cool. What's he working on? What's the car?
Oh, so we just picked up a 84 Corvette.
All right.
It looks pretty nice on the outside. It needs a lot of work.
Yeah,
It'll keep us busy for a while.
I had an '81 Corvette, and the usual stuff with the lights that don't uh, stay down.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, when the vacuum tubes get old and the weird things start happening. But it was a fun car to drive. It kind of looked like the Batmobile. It was
yeah.
black, wire wheels, um, and a buddy of mine owns one today. All right, same model year, and it's funny because he'll take it out in parades,
Oh,
and
yeah.
yeah, and the kids all call it a Batmobile. As he's driving it by, they go, "Look, there's a Batmobile."
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that car got broken into so many times.
Oh,
I mean, it was kind of surprising to me too, the places where, because it had the glass tops, the mirror glass
yeah,
tops,
yeah, yeah.
and those went at the time. They went for like a set was like $1,200, which to me was a fair amount of money at the time,
Yeah.
and people kept trying to steal them. So I had to go buy a set of hard tops that I put on so that when I went anywhere that wasn't, it didn't have a parking attendant, or like you just could not go to a mall with them on. Somebody would stick a screwdriver in your window, bust your window. Somebody busted one of the tops one time, and then I had to buy a new set because they were trying to steal it and broke it.
Oh, man.
Somebody stuck their screwdriver right through my door to try to pop the lock so they could get them. So I had to paint my car.
Oh my
It's like
gosh. Wow.
pretty crazy. So anyway, hopefully he doesn't have any trouble like that, but
Yeah.
he definitely will need to be careful where he takes it.
Yeah, yeah, that thought did cross my mind. So yeah, yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if that's changed much since, you think to yourself, well, where did I go? I lived in Piscataway at the time. I parked the car in a mall, Hadley Shopping Mall, right? It was, you know, pretty normal mall, not a high crime district or anything like that. And that's where one of them happened. It's just like,
Yeah, I guess that the message is like, don't assume anything. Don't assume any particular place is safe and you're fine. It's, if somebody sees something, they're gonna take a shot at it, unfortunately. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, hopefully he doesn't run into those kinds of problems. But
Now
yeah.
that model year, is that the model that's like wedge shaped? Or is it more like the model I had where it's more, with the big humps on the wheel cover wells?
It's more wedge shape. It
More
is
wedge shaped. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I know the model. All right. So is there anything else that you'd like to talk about? Maybe your ideal customer, what that person looks like? Um, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So, I think one of the misnomers is when it comes, especially when it comes to exit, right? Someone's looking to sell their business, is that, um, that it's an event, right? It's like sticking the for sale sign in the front yard, and that's not the case. You know, if you were selling your home, to use an analogy, if you were selling your home, what would you do? Ideally, you'd bring in a real estate agent, and they may come in and say, look, if you paint this room, you replace that carpet, if you replace these windows that are really outdated, I can get you more money for the home. Well, business is the same way. If just because a business is making money, is profitable, does not necessarily mean that somebody else is going to want it. If the business relies heavily on the owner themselves, to be running the business, to be constantly there, if the owner can't take a vacation, if there's other issues like, yeah, they've got good revenue, but a big chunk of that revenue comes from a very, one or two customers, right? That's considered a risk. And so it takes time to really prepare a business to make it attractive to a third party. So ideally, I want to be in there, a minimum of 3 years out, so I can help, guide the business owner through closing those gaps. If the business relies heavily on their involvement, then we got to work on things like, teaching the owner to how to delegate, making sure they got a team they can delegate to. If they don't, then maybe we got to go find somebody outside of the business and bring them in, and then build up a succession plan. So if you think about just these few types of things I'm mentioning, it can take time to close those gaps and really get the business ready. So I think that's a big, like I said, a big misconception business owners have, is that, oh, this is, going to put the business up, and because it makes good money, somebody's going to be in a hurry to buy it, and that's not always the case. The other thing is I mentioned the personal aspect that I work on with an owner, and that's what it's making sure the business owner has a very detailed, well thought out plan as to what they're going to do next after they no longer have the business in their life. So many business owners, they're not concerned about the amount of money necessarily that they're going to get for the business, or um, a lot of them they think about the legacy, that they do want the business to continue on and their name to mean something after they're no longer involved. But what a lot of them are really concerned about is that they're going to be bored. Even if they're going to walk away with substantial wealth, they're scared they will have nothing to do, because this thing that's occupied so much of their time for years, if not decades, is going to be gone. And so I've got to work with them to help them, realize that, hey, there's a lot more to life than just running a business. And let's figure out what those things are for you, business owner, and get them to the point where they're excited. They can't wait to, exit their business, sell their business, because when I work with them, flush out what they're going to do in detail, they feel pulled. They feel pulled towards that next act, towards those new things they're going to be doing. So that's really very, it's a factor of the exit process that can't be overlooked.
That's interesting. I know for me, one of the big differences that I see is that a commercial sale has, like you're saying, two aspects. It's one is if it's as an asset, if it has a building or something like that, there's that aspect of it. And then there's the revenue aspect, or the profit. You know, profit's a little tricky, right? Because you can mess with profit numbers, where revenue is a little hard to mess with. But how do you, value each of those things? And one of the things that I noticed, if I'm in your shoes, you're trying to figure out, okay, what's this business worth? How can we increase the value of the business to get them the money they need to have the life that they want to have when they exit the business? And so, like you said, getting them excited about what they're going to do and having enough money to do it, and showing them a path to getting there, must be a lot of fun. You know, uh,
And very, yeah, and very satisfying.
yeah,
When they start seeing, the value of the business go up, as some of these, these different types of issues, like the ones I've mentioned, are being addressed, and um, they're seeing the benefits as well. So, they're not just waiting for the payoff to occur when they actually sell the business. If they've Again, I'll keep using the example of an owner-dependent business. If they have always been the one to be working in the business all the time, and they have not been able to go on vacation. If we start working on those things, all of a sudden they have more time, right? They still own the business. Their time is now being freed up. The business is running just the same, if not better, and so they're starting to feel the benefits long before they even exit the business fully. So it's helping the business owners kind of see the advantages of properly preparing their business for exit, seeing having them experience the advantages early on in the process, is also really uh, really satisfying.
that's great. When I was like just graduating college, I was inducted into Beta Gamma Sigma, which is
Yeah,
was a honor
same
society for
here. Yeah.
yeah. And we were lucky enough to have a big shot executive come in and speak to us. And his message was about success, but it was an interesting message because he said, "Be careful how you measure success." And he was a hatchet man, so he did mergers and acquisitions,
Yeah.
right? And so after the merger, you got to cut a lot of people, right? So he was the hatchet man. He made an unbelievable living coming in, doing a merger, and cutting out the extra,
Mm.
people that didn't need to be there anymore. And he admitted he was ruthless and he was good at it, and but he said, and that he made a ton of money. He goes, but he says, I'm no longer associated with the children from my first marriage. None of them will talk to me. He says, look at me, I'm overweight. I have a heart condition. He started going through like some of the things that are going on. His marriage with his first, wife fell apart.
Mm.
Um, you know, he's remarried now and has another family, but he's not sure if he's going to live to see them grow up. You know, so he said, be careful how you measure success. You know, and that was a really, like, not too many people will get in front of you and say something like that. So,
Yeah.
I look at what you do and I think to myself, here's a guy who can help people really realign what success means to them. Yeah. And
Yeah, that's a powerful message, for sure. So yeah, no, that's exactly it. It's helping those owners really realize um, the value of what they've put everything they've had into,
yeah,
and enjoy it. And look, I mentioned wanting to start, the minimum of 3 years out with an owner. The early, even earlier is better. And just because working through the process, just because an owner becomes ready doesn't mean they have to exit. It just means they're ready. So that's another kind of misconception, is that, oh well, if I start this process once it's ready, then that means I have to sell it. No, it just means you're ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very, um, very influential presentation, I'm sure, by that gentleman. At that stage in your life.
Yeah, it was very unexpected too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, so that was pretty cool. Anything that you'd like to touch on that I haven't brought up?
No, I mean, I think we've hit on some of the key things. Again, when it comes to exit planning um, and again with coaching as well. I mean, what a coach ultimately provides is the accountability, right? It's for the business owner, right? It's that person that they're going to be meeting with on a regular basis, who's going to be holding them to doing the thing, holding them accountable to doing the things they said they were going to do to help improve their business. So for my coaching practice, ultimately the real benefit I bring to the table. Again, the tools I use for be it an exit planning opportunity or coaching, it's generally the same. It's just what is the owner's what are the big goals and objectives that they're trying to achieve? Maybe it's an exit, maybe it's something else.
One of the things that I saw you bring up when we were working together was the idea that the owner could reallocate their time from something like, let's say, administrative payroll or bookkeeping or something like that, that isn't really highest and best use of their time. Let somebody else come in and do that work so that they could focus on something that was going to grow the business or repair the building or whatever it is that's the higher value thing that's going to bring them closer to their ability to have the business ready to be sold. And it's hard to see that, I think, for a lot of business owners when they're in the weeds.
Yeah, there's a concept that we in Focal Point like to refer to. It's the three eyes of the business owner. So you've got the owner themselves, you've got the manager, and then you've got the technician. Um, and your owner is, they're paying themselves a salary of whatever, we'll say $100 an hour. They're paying their managers, just to make the numbers easy, $50 an hour, and their technicians, they're kind of their ground level employees, if you will, it's $25 an hour. And the concerns the technicians focused on, the what's immediately in front of them, the day-to-day execution, completing tasks. The managers kind of looking at past performance and deciding, okay, what do we got to do next? Whereas the owner should really be looking, into the future, right? Doing the strategic planning, what are my competitors up to? What other market events are may affect my business today. And what we find is a lot of owners are actually they're down in the weeds doing the job of the technician and the manager, when their time is far more valuable. So we talk to the owners about, exactly as you said, getting those things off their plate that could be done by someone else for far less money, so that they can focus on those owner level, those $100 an hour type, decisions and exercises that need to be done to keep a business, viable into the future. So yeah, see it all the time. Again, it goes back to those owner dependent businesses where they're doing all the things, even when they've got, a successful business, they've got 10, 20 or more employees, they've still got a hand. The owner still has a hand in every aspect of the business. And, got to get them out of that, got to get them to just doing the high level strategic stuff, and putting their focus in the right places.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I once worked for a retail clothing store. The owner of the founder of the business was still running it some 30 years later, still handwriting the checks for the accounts payable. Had finally outsourced the payroll checks, but that was a prior career of mine. I was a data analyst, data modeler, systems kind of guy. And so I would go out and meet with the C-level, and like VPs and stuff like that, gather their business requirements, document them, and then pass them off to programmers to develop systems for them. And a couple things were interesting about that experience is that, on the one hand, most of the time the owners thought their business ran one way. And when you actually looked in the data of the system that they're using, you see all these workarounds in the free-form text boxes that the employees are using to get around their system. And, when you bring that to their attention, oh, they get so mad. But then when you try to automate it, likewise, the 80-20 rule plays out, right? So, 80% of the time you could probably automate a task. So how do you get it to that 20% to bubble up to the decision maker? And I think, in a lot of ways, that's the key thing here. And if you're the business owner, you probably just lack trust that your staff is going to bubble up the 20% that you actually need. And so you hang on to that 80 because you're worried. And on the flip side, 20% of your customers produce 80% of your revenue, right? So you're looking at it and you're saying, well, if I let them do the 20%, are they going to be the 20% that produce most of my revenue? I don't want to let go of that, right? So they've, business owners struggle with that idea, because they know it inherently, even if they weren't brought up in a business school program, they just know this. It's something that it's innate for them, right? So building that trust, it's got to be challenging for you.
Yeah. So no, it's a very valid point, and so it comes down to breaking that process down into like real small baby steps, and just getting them to kind of like, okay, hey, business owners, let's just try this one thing. Let's just take this one step and just see how it goes. And if I can get them to do that, okay, great. And then we talk about how'd that go. The building didn't burn to the ground, right? Everything's still working okay. All right, let's try to take this next step, right? Really break it down into small steps so they can, and over time, after we've taken those few very small steps, now we've built some trust, and they start to feel more comfortable in seeing the process work, and that they can, if they've got the right people, they set the right objectives, all of the things, they can delegate, and the business will run, just as well, if not better, without their constant involvement in every piece of it.
All right, excellent. Well, hey, I think that's a pretty good session. I hope you're happy with it, and I'll obviously share it with you and take a look at it, see if you like it. We can post it and share it, and it was a pleasure as always. Looking forward to working with you again.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, Drew. I really appreciate it.
All right, I'll catch you later.
See ya.